Alright, NBA 2K Rating Stock Watch Weekend Edition. I was a little busy on Sunday, so we're going to be doing a combined video of the games from the 30th and the 31st as we look for the movers and shakers. I'll post a timestamp in a pinned comment if you want to skip ahead to the 31st. But for now, let's start off with the 30th. There were 11 games. Let's start with the Washington Wizards, who beat the Celtics 115 to 112 in double overtime. Wizards moved up to 5-1, their best start in like 12 years or something like that. Bradley Beal, 36, 7-6, only 12 of 32 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, 9 of 9 from the line, but overall his best game of the season, and he had lots of help in this one. Spencer Dinwiddie, 29-4, he missed the last game with injury, and or not injury, but just like they're pulling him out of back-to-backs for now, I think. And Kyle Kuzma, 17 points, 17 rebounds. He's doubled his rebounds per game from last year. He's starting at power forward, so he's somebody whose rating I recommend going up. He's probably going to be the starting power forward even after Rui Hachimura comes back, who has yet to play the season and does not have a timetable, although 2K doesn't seem to have realized that, as we're now 2 weeks into the season and they have yet to sideline him. Montrezl Harrell has also been fantastic this year. He's gunning for Sixth Man of the Year, but right now he's starting as Dan Gafford is sidelined with a knee injury. Harrell, 20 points, 14 rebounds. He's averaging a career high in points, rebounds, minutes, and field goal percentage. So him and Kuzma, I recommend their ratings go to the moon right now. Celtics, they've been struggling. They dropped to 2-4. They've had a lot of close games, a lot of overtime games so far. Dennis Schroeder started for Marcus Smart in this one. Rob Williams was out. Grant Williams got the start. So Jaylen Brown, he led the team with 34 points on 14 of 24 shooting. 0 of 5 on threes, though. And Jason Tatum, he had 27 in this one, 15 rebounds, but 10 of 32 from the field, and also 0 of 5 from 3. Celtics obviously relying on perimeter shooting from their two wings. Horford, 8 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 blocks. Best shot blocking season of his career by far. So at the very least, I'd like to see that attribute go way up. And Schroeder, he struggled in his start. 6 points, 9 rebounds, but only 1 of 7 shooting in 42 minutes. And Josh Richardson got a little extra time with Smart sidelined, had 18 points in 37 minutes, his best game of the year. Let's move over to Detroit, who they are the only team that we're going to cover twice in this one, as they were on a back-to-back. Pistons 110, Magic 103. They got their first win of the game on Saturday night. Cade Cunningham made his debut, but pretty dismal, 2 points, 7 rebounds, 1 of 8 shooting in only like 20-something minutes. Jeremy Grant, 22, 7, and 5. He struggled with his shot. This was only his second 20-point game of the year. Saddiq Bey, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 threes, but only 4 of 17 shooting. He had otherwise been leading the way for them. But the Pistons, they got 57 points from their bench in this one. Kelly Olynyk, 18 points. Josh Jackson, 13 points and 7 rebounds. Trey Lyles, 12 points. Corey Joseph, 11 points. So the Pistons bench actually stepping up to help get them a win over the Magic, who are the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Probably says a lot about Orlando's bench that they got spanked that bad by Detroit's. But Franz Wagner, he is stupid underrated. Had 19 points in this one to lead the way. Cole Anthony, 15 points, 10 rebounds. He's also proven to be very underrated in the early going. Jalen Suggs, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, but only 3 of 13 from the field. He just can't seem to get his shot to drop, similar to like Jaylen Green in Houston, and I guess Cunningham in Detroit. Moritz Wagner, he had 13 points and 4 threes. His best game of the year. RJ Hampton, 11 points, his second time in double figures this year. Those guys are looking to carve a case for more playing time, but obviously they got killed by the opposing bench, so I guess don't read too much into it. Moving over to the Knicks, who moved up to 5-1 by beating the Pelicans 123 to 117. RJ Barrett had a career high 35 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Was 12 of 18 from 12 of 18 from the field and 6 of 8 from 3. So easily the best game of his career, and he's been a two-way threat. He's angling to make the all-defensive team this year, so we'll see if he's able to do that. He does get a large amount of minutes playing for Tom Thibodeau, so he's got a reasonable shot at the second team, I think. Kemba Walker's been hot this year, 19 points, 4 threes. He's shooting over 50% from 3. Evan Fournier, He's also been really good. 19 points, 5 threes. The Knicks backcourt killed the Pelicans in this one. Randall was quiet with 10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, only 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 2 on threes. It's his quietest game of the year. He has been forcing it, but obviously the guards on the team all had it going, so why not defer? And Taj Gibson, he had his best game of the year with 13 and 7 off the bench. Knicks are still without Nerlens Noel. Moving over to the Pelicans. They dropped to 1-6, worst in the Western Conference. Brandon Ingram did not play. He's got like a knee contusion, I think. So Josh Hart got the start. They were led by Valanciunas with 27 points and 14 rebounds. His rating, I recommend going up. He's probably going to produce 20 points and 15 rebounds consistently throughout the year. I think he's like top 3 in the league in rebounds per game. Don't know if he's got the lead right now or anything, but he's been a very good fit for this team. Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Devonte Graham, they were not great. They combined for 11 of 34 shooting in this game compared to the Knicks, who got fantastic shooting from their backcourt. Alexander-Walker had 13 points on 13 shots. Graham, 17 points, 8 assists, but was 6 of 21 from the field. And he hasn't been very efficient in the early going. Kira Lewis, he got some time as a result. He had 12 points on 5 of 10 from the field. It was his best game of the year. Could earn some more playing time if the backcourt continues to struggle. And Herb Jones, he's dumb underrated. He had 12 points and 5 assists as he continues to start for Zion Williamson. I'm not saying that he's got to have like a world-beating overall, but certainly 70's too low. He should probably be in the 73 to 75 range, I think. Let's go over to Toronto, who the Raptors beat the Pacers 97 to 94, move up to 4-3, and they've been led by Scotty Barnes of late, 21 points and 12 rebounds. The only thing keeping me from picking him for Rookie of the Year is that he plays the same position as Siakam, who will be back next month. Otherwise, I expect that Evan Mobley is just going to have the most consistent path to playing time out of all of the other rookies this year, and has been performing. He's among the top 3 performers. I'd say Barnes, performance-wise, right now is like a tick over him, but that could change in about a month. Fred VanVleet, he was solid. 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. OG added 15. Svi Mikhailiuk had 16 points in 22 minutes. His best game of the year. And Goran Dragic, he continued to be a DNP coach's decision, so I recommend his rating being dropped. Did it for like Chris Boucher, he's not as effective as like a... He's not the third best guy on the team. That would be like Gary Trent or Barnes or whoever. Pacers, they fell to 1-6. They've had some really close games, but a win is a win and a loss is a loss. Caris LeVert, he made his season debut with 16 points on 6 of 10 shooting. Good to see him back, but Malcolm Brogdon was still out, so T.J. McConnell started. And LeVert, worth noting, he started for Justin Holiday, who had I think, his best game of the year with 16 off the bench. Domantas Sabonis, 22 points and 14 rebounds. Miles Turner, 10 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 threes, and 5 blocks. So not close to the 40-point game he had 2 weeks ago, but definitely one of his better lines of the year. Chris Duarte, all the way down here, should be at least 3 to 5 points higher in rating. Had one of his quieter nights in terms of scoring with 12 points, but he had a career-high 6 rebounds and a career-high 6 assists, so he's doing a little bit of everything. And Jeremy Lamb, he had 12 points in 14 minutes. I'm sorry, 11 points in 14 minutes. So the Pacers have been getting good contributions from the guys they had. They're just lacking, they've had a lot of injuries. Brogdon's been out. T.J. Warren is still out, and LeVert just returned finally. So hopefully, if they can get things together, they'll be able to make a push for the playoffs, but at currently 5 games under 500, not looking great. Also worth noting, Torrey Craig he played only 8 minutes after scoring his career high in the last game. So Rick Carlisle, I don't think is doing the team any favors at the moment either. But needless to say, let's go over to the Sixers, who beat down the Hawks 122 to 94. Sixers moved up to 4-2 on the year. Tobias Harris, 22, 11, and 4, 9 of 13 from the field. Dumb efficient. He's been their second best player easily. Looks like he's having a better year than he did last year when he barely missed the All-Star team. He was like the 4th best power forward in the Eastern Conference. Given the year that Domantas Sabonis is having and the year that the Pacers are having, it stands to reason that Harris probably has the leg up over Sabonis for an All-Star berth. If it comes to that, Embiid, he's been a little up and down this year. 19 points and 5 rebounds, 5 of 13 from the field, 8 of 9 from the line. I guess they beat the Hawks by 30, so it doesn't make sense to play him heavy minutes or anything. So, and they got some revenge after losing to the Hawks in the playoffs. Maxey, 16 points, 6 of 8 from the field, one of his more efficient games. Seth Curry added 15. Shake Milton had 11 off the bench. Second good game in a row for him out of the 2 that he's played this year. Matisse Thybulle had 11 points, 4 steals, and 3 blocks in 23 minutes. He is prone to putting up lines like that. He made all defense last year despite having a very small role. I think that he probably should be starting over Danny Green at some point, if not this year, then next year for sure. And I think that's going to help the Sixers a lot. Green, for what it's worth, is on a non-guaranteed deal for next year at $10 million per. He's not playing like that's going to get picked up, so I do anticipate that they probably waive him and maybe re-sign him at a lower rate than that, and perhaps give the starting job to Thybulle at that point, as Green will be 35 years old at that point. Going over to the Bulls, who beat the Jazz 107-99. Bulls moved up to 5-1. DeMar DeRozan, he had 32 points and 6 rebounds, 13 of 24 from the field, 6 of 6 from the line. He might take a little bit of the scoring load from Zach LaVine, since LaVine is playing through a thumb injury. LaVine, for what it's worth, had 26, 5, and 5, so it hasn't slowed him down a ton. LaMelo Ball had 11 points, 4 steals, and Vucevic had 16 points and 12 rebounds, but was 4 of 19 from the field, matching up with Gobert, which is always going to be tough. But they were able to beat the best team in the Western Conference. The Utah Jazz dropped to 4-1 as their first loss of the year. Mike Conley, he did not play, so Joe Ingles got the start, so maybe that's worth noting. Mitchell, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, but was 9 of 27 from the field, 2 of 11 from 3, and salvaged his line with 10 of 10 from the line. He was operating as the point guard with Conley sidelined, so he is going to have nights like that where his counting stats are going to be a little higher as the point guard because nobody else can really create their shot on the team. Gobert had 17 points, 19 rebounds. Clarkson, 16 points, but only 5 of 19 shooting. His shooting's really been off this year, so it doesn't look like he's going to repeat as 6th man of the year. And Bogey added 14 points himself. Should obviously have a higher rating than Hassan Whiteside, but whatever. I've only been saying that for a month or two. The Heat, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference and possibly the best team in the NBA. They currently lead the NBA in net rating. They went up to 5-1 by beating the Grizzlies 129-103. Dwayne, and they did this without Bam Adebayo, who took this one off. Dwayne Dedmon got the start. Jimmy Butler led the way with 27, 5, and 7. He had 3 steals, 1 3, 8 of 12 from the field, 10 of 11 from the line. Stupid efficient, and he's playing at a level higher than what he previously has done. Duncan Robinson, he's been cold, but he was shooting 28% from 3 coming into this game, but went 5 of 10. So good to see him get back on track a little bit. Kyle Lowry, 15 points and 5 rebounds. I think that was his best scoring output of the year. He's been kind of struggling with his shot too. Tyler Hero, 22, 6, and 5 off the bench. His rating has got to go through the roof. Max Strus, 12 points, best game of the year for him. And Caleb Martin, 12 points, best game of the year for him as well, despite being on a 2-way contract. Clearly the Heat, they have no issue giving significant roles to guys at the end of their bench. And they blew at the Grizzlies so bad that Udonis Haslem checked in 6 months earlier than expected. As for the Grizzlies, they dropped to 3-3. Ja, his rating, I'm recommending that to go up like 5 points, but he was not the greatest in this one. He did have 20 points and 7 assists, but he's been playing at a level much better than that. He was averaging like 30, I think, coming into this one. And Dwayne Melton, or DeAnthony Melton, he had, where is he? All the way down here. He's underrated. 20 points. Got himself going. He'd struggle a little bit in the last few, but way too low at a 75 compared to Xavier Tillman, who barely plays. And Ditto for like Brandon Clark, Kyle Anderson, etc. Desmond Bain, he's another player who's underrated. 17 points and 5 threes in this one. The starting backcourt, Bain and Melton, they've all been playing much better than expected. Jaren Jackson Jr., though, has not. He only had 8 points in this one on 3 of 12 shooting. He has not been shooting it well. He's basically been as bad as Kristaps Porzingis has been for the Dallas Mavericks. So take that for what it's worth. He did just sign a max contract extension, or if not max, but close to it. So the Grizzlies do eventually need him to get going. They're going to make some headway in the West. And Kyle Anderson, I think, had his best game of the year. He had been struggling a little bit, adjusting to his bench role. He had 13 points, but 5 of 7 from the field and 3 of 4 from 3. So keep an eye on that. And over to the Spurs. They actually beat the Bucks 102-93, moved up to 2-5 on the year behind DeJounte Murray, who he's stupid underrated right now. 23 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals. He's averaging something like 28 and 9. He's the number one option with DeMar DeRozan gone, so his production's through the roof. Derek White, he's underrated a bit too. 17 points, 3 threes. More or less established himself as like the second best guy on the team between like him and Keldon Johnson, who added 12 points and 11 rebounds. Lonnie Walker started for McDermott again, but he had a quiet night with 4 points on 1 of 8 shooting. Bryn Forbes added 16 off the bench in one of his better games, back-to-back for him. And Thad Young, he actually got to play in this one. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 5 of 9 from the field, and did all of that in only 16 minutes. So maybe he'll get back into the rotation after this one. We'll see. As for the Bucks, Giannis, 28 points, 13 rebounds, 11 of 18 from the field, but 6 of 11 from the line and 7 turnovers. So even when he had a great line, but he was not perfect, and the Bucks lost to a lesser talented team as a result. Middleton, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, but was 8 of 21 from the field. He's kind of been struggling a little bit with his shot in the early going. The Bucks, worth noting, the Bucks and the Suns, the 2 NBA Finals teams of last year, they had the shortest offseason out of everybody, and both teams have been struggling out of the gate. Most of that for the Bucks part is just that they haven't had a bunch of their key players, as Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, DiVincenzo. They've all missed time. George Hill, he filled in for Drew again. He had 10 points. Thanasis, he started for Brook Lopez. Thanasis, his production's never going to be great, but obviously he's playing ahead like Semi Ojeleye and Rodney Hood in the rotation, so his rating should be much higher than what it is now. He's playing big minutes for the team so far. Ditto for Pat Connaughton, 6 points, 10 rebounds. Bucks didn't get much else from the rest of the team. Grayson Allen also had 12 points. Let's head over to the Warriors, who beat the Thunder 103-82. Curry, not much to say. You know, they moved up to 5-1. The Warriors playing against arguably the worst team in the NBA, the Thunder, who dropped to 1-5. Curry had 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 6 threes. Didn't have to do too much. Draymond Green, 14 and 11 and 8, 6 of 8 from the field. I guess it's worth noting his demise from 2 years ago was greatly overstated. He looks back to normal. Jordan Poole had 14 points, 4 assists, only 6-15 shooting though. He's somebody that I was recommending his rating to go like up a lot further based on his preseason, but he's cooled off a little bit in the regular season. And as for the Thunder, they're obviously struggling to score on most nights. Shea had 15 points and 5 rebounds. Josh Giddey, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Dort had 14 points. And James Robinson Earl, he started over Derek Favors. Favors did not sit this one out. Favors played 10 minutes off the bench. So right now it looks like Robinson Earl is going to be the starter. He had 6 points and 3 rebounds. Going over to Denver, they beat the Wolves 93-91. Nuggets moved up to 4-2. Joker had 26, 19, and 7. 3 blocks, 3 threes. Fucking ridiculous. It looks like he's trying to repeat as the MVP. Michael Porter Jr. is doing him no favors. 7 points, 12 rebounds, but 3 of 12 from the field. He was expected to, he got his max contract during the offseason, and they were relying on him to carry the weight of Jamal Murray's absence, but he has not been able to do that so far. Hasn't been able to get going at all. Monte Morris and Will Barton have mostly had to fill the void. Morris had 16 points and 5 assists in this one. Minnesota, they've been playing a lot better than expected. They fell to 3-2 in this one. Towns, quiet night for kind of everybody involved. 14 points total for Towns, Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and those have been their 3 biggest guns throughout the year. Malik Beasley had his best game of the year, adding 18 points with 6 threes off the bench, but wasn't enough. Jared Vanderbilt started over Josh Okogie. Oko was a DNP in the last one, but did play here, so it does seem that Vanderbilt has returned to the starting lineup moving forward, and that meant that Jalen McDaniels has been playing, or Jaden McDaniels has been playing the 3 rather than the 4. Heading over to the Suns, they beat the Cavs 101-92. Devin Booker, 27 points, 9 assists. DeAndre Ayton, 17 points, 12 rebounds. Chris Paul, 16 points, 10 assists, 4 steals. So their big 3 got things done against a lesser talented Cavs team. Suns moved up to 2 and 3. Cavs, they fell to 3 and 4. Cedi Osman had his best game of the year by far. Had 20 points and 6 threes off the bench. Was a DNP in the last game, so he had something to prove. Darius Garland, 11 points, 5 assists. Colin Sexton, I'm recommending his rating be dropped. He only had 11 points and 5 assists in this one. The assists generally haven't been there. His assist rate is way down, given he's not playing any point guard this year. But despite him not playing any point guard, his offensive efficiency or anything hasn't really gone up. He's been struggling with his shot relative to last year. So as a result, I would recommend dropping him. He also doesn't bring much on the defensive end either. Evan Mobley, he's been good, but he had his worst game as a pro with 2 points on 1 of 6 shooting. Quiet night for him. And Lauri Markkanen, he had his best game of the year with 11 points on 3 of 5 shooting. Normally he's been shooting like 3 of 11. So 3 of 5, like he was above 50% shooting. That's baby steps. And Kevin Love, he was also solid off the bench. Where's he at? 11 points and 12 rebounds in only 20 minutes. So he's been a permanent monster for the team. And that settles off the Saturday games. So let's move on to Sunday. The Dallas Mavericks beat the Sacramento Kings 105-99. Mavs moved up to 4 and 2. Kristaps Porzingis is still out. So Maxi Kleber, he got the start rather than Reggie Bullock. Bullock had been starting, and they shift up Dorian Finney-Smith to power forward in those alignments, but DFS hadn't really been playing well, and Kleber had been off the bench, so it makes sense for Maxi to come in, and he played well again with 11 points, 5 rebounds, and on 3 of 3 from the field. So look for that to continue as long as Kristaps is out. Luka Doncic, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 of 21 from the field, although he was 1 of 7 from 3 and 2 of 6 from the line, so his shot's been a little wonky this year, but solid overall performance from him in the W. And Frank Ntilikina lives. 3rd consecutive good game in a row for him. He had a season-high 12 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from the 3, so be on the lookout for him. He might start climbing these ratings. At the very least, I think he's making a run for Trey Burke's rotation spot, if anything. As for Sacramento, they dropped to 3 and 3. Had been playing better than expected, but they couldn't get it going offensively in this one. Only 19% from 3. Richaun Holmes, 22 and 13, but everybody else in the perimeter was struggled. Harrison Barnes, he's been great this year. His rating's got to go way up, probably like 4 points, but he's averaging 25 points and 10 rebounds. In this one, he only had 15 and 10. Did have 5 assists, but shot 5 of 16 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. He had been shooting like 50% from 3, so that'll bring his average down a little bit. Fox and Halliburton, they combined for 28 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, but only 10 of 30 from the field. And Buddy Hield also couldn't get it going with 11 points on 4 of 13 shooting. Moving over to Sacramento, the Hornets moved up to 5 and 2. Miles Bridges, he had another fantastic game, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, a career high in assists. One of the things Bridges improved on his handle since last year. So in turn, he's been able to take guys off the dribble, and that also has allowed him to be a better playmaker once the defense rotates. So he's not going to get a high number of assists in every game. Obviously, Lonzo Ball is going to do the majority of the playmaking, but 9 assists for the prospective most improved player, just showing that he added another wrinkle to his game. LaMelo Ball, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 10 of 20 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3, only 1 turnover, and led his Hornets over the Blazers 125 to 113. Terry Rozier returned from injury, 14 points, 5 assists, 4 threes. Kelly Oubre had a great game off the bench, 26, 7, and 5, 6 threes. I'm recommending his rating actually go up. He's been up and down this year, but he's been overall just much better than last season. And PJ Washington returned from injury and had 17 points, 8 of 8 from the field. So if you were paying any attention to these lines, it doesn't seem like the Blazers played very much defense in this game. That had been something that they had improved on a little bit since last year. But CJ, he had 25 points. He's been the best player on the Blazers for the most part, so his rating, I recommend that to go up. Dame Lillard has been ice cold to start the year. 14 points, 12 assists, 5 of 20 shooting, 2 of 14 from 3, and only 2 of 2 from the line. He just can't seem to get it going. I can't recommend him being a 94 overall rating, one of the top 10 rated players in the NBA. You got to drop him down to like a 91, I think, if not like a 90, based on how he's playing right now. And Anthony Simons, he's pretty good off the bench. He had 19 points, hit 5 threes, played only 19 minutes. So per minute star, he's got the trust of his coach. They've got a lot more leeway than he did last year under Coach Chauncey Billups. So yeah, I'd recommend his rating going up. I think he's ahead of like Cody Zeller in the rotation. If anything, certainly ahead of, Tony Snell's hurt, but I would expect him to be ahead of Snell in the rotation. And Nasir Little obviously is very underrated at 7-3 based on what he's done so far this year. But heading over to the Jazz, who I guess they were on a back-to-back too. They moved up to 5-1, beating the Bucks, who were also on a back-to-back. Mitchell, 28 points. Conley returned from a 1-game absence, 20 points, 4 threes. Gobert, 9 and 13, 4 blocks. 9 points on only 2 of 3 from the field, so got to the line, very efficient game. Clarkson continued to struggle, 15 points, 5 of 17 from the field, 0 of 7 on threes. So yeah, he can't get it going, and I might even start recommending his rating get dropped if he doesn't get it going. Bucks, they dropped to 3-4 with the loss. Chris Middleton sat this game out, so they were without Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Brook Lopez. So Connaughton, Hill, and Thanasis got the start. Really, this game was just Giannis and nobody else. Giannis had 25, 7 and 6, 10 of 20 from the field, 3 of 11 from 3, but only 2 of 2 from the line. Over half of his shots were threes, 11 threes to 20 field goal attempts. So I think that, given that he was starting at center and matched up with Gobert, I think they were just trying things out, like making this like a test game. Obviously you want to beat Gobert by stretching the floor, and the fact that Giannis had 3 threes is good, but they obviously needed him to shoot better than 27% or whatever 3 of 11 is. But reasonable barometer game. Grayson Allen did stretch the floor. He had 18 points and 5 threes. Bobby Portis had 15 and 5 in 19 minutes. Obviously, he's his best game of the year, and he's a floor stretcher, so he was able to get things going, probably against like Hassan Whiteside, and a stronger best shooter than Giannis. So I would have liked to see him play more than the 19 minutes. If anything, you probably should have started him and put Giannis at the 4 and just play Portis like 30 minutes if he's like physically up to it. He may not be, given that he's recently coming off an injury. But let's move over to the Nets, who beat down the Pistons 117-91. Nets moved up to 4-3. Kevin Durant, 23 points, 5 assists, 10 of 13 from the field. It was basically like taking candy from a baby on Halloween night for him. I swear that's the only Halloween pun that I'll make in this one. Harden, 18, 10, and 12, triple-double, 6 of 9 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3, only 2 of 3 from the line. I'm not going to care about the free throws in this game. He obviously shot the ball a lot better. This was likewise, Detroit's talent just really couldn't match up. why force contact if, like, in a 30-point victory, you don't need to get to the line, especially since he's still recovering from like a hamstring injury or whatnot. Lamarcus Aldridge, 7 of 8 from the field. Detroit really didn't offer much resistance in this one. He had 16 points. Worth noting that Nick Claxton's out 7 to 10 days with illness, so Aldridge has a clear path to minutes and came off the bench behind Blake Griffin in this one. Griffin had his best game of the year with 8 points on like 3 or 4 shooting against his former team. But he's somebody who obviously I recommend dropping in rating, as he's been absolutely brutal this year, shooting like 7% from 3 and 25% from the field. Bembry, he had his best game of the year with 15 points on 6 of 8 shooting. And moving over to Detroit. Where are we at? Okay. Cody Cunningham, he did not play. He's not going to play back-to-backs in the early going. So Hamidou Diallo got the start. And really, they couldn't get anything going. Corey Joseph, 13. Josh Jackson, 12. Jeremy Grant, 11. Those were the only players in double figures. So nothing to really talk about there. Let's finish things off with the Lakers, who beat the Rockets 95-85. Lakers moved up to 4-3. DeAndre Jordan moved to the bench in this one. So Anthony Davis, he played the 5. LeBron played the 4. Bazemore played the 3. And then Avery Bradley, all the way down here, he started and played the 2. Obviously, he's somebody I recommend his rating going up if he's going to be playing a consistent role on the team, which it looks like he might. Westbrook, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. Davis, 16 and 13. LeBron, 15, 7 and 8, 4 steals. He beat Jaylen Green down court for a reverse dunk, and he's in year 19 for what it's worth. Carmelo Anthony, also in year 19, had 23 points on 8 of 14 shooting, 5 of 8 from 3. He's somebody whose rating I recommend going up. He's producing like an 80 overall player, like 6 Man of the Year contender. Should have a much higher rating than Dwight Howard, who is barely playing for the team right now. Austin Reeves is playing for the team right now. 2 points, 20 minutes. He's more of like an Alex Caruso type of player, so he's not going to put up big numbers, but he's there to defend and make smart decisions. So he's already playing a consistent role for the team. Rajon Rondo was a DNP-CD in this one, and Malik Monk had 0 points on 0 of 6 shooting. So it seems like Reeves has a clear path to minutes and only has a 68 overall. So clearly he's underrated by at least like 5 points. His rating's got to go way up. And the Rockets, they dropped to 1-5. They've been one of the worst teams in the NBA, along with the Thunder, Pistons, and Magic. Christian Wood, he had 16 and 13, but only was 1 of 7 from the free throw line, so could have had a much better scoring night if he had not given away the freebies. Jaylen Green, I'm recommending his rating drop. He's a 79 overall, but he's been like the worst starting 2 guard in the league. He had 7 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 of 8 from the field. His shooting just hasn't been there in any game for the most part. He had 1 good game, and the rest have all been stinkers. He was also 0 of 4 from 3 and 3 for 6 from the line, so just in general, not getting it done. Eric Gordon has consistently been the best 2 guard on the team. He had 17 points and 4 threes off the bench. And Alperen Sengun, he had 11 points and 7 rebounds, 3 steals, 20 minutes. He outplayed Daniel Tice, who had only 2 points and 4 rebounds on 1 of 5 shooting. He played 21 minutes, so we could see a rotation change at this point. The more games that the Rockets lose, the more inclined they are to play their young guys over the vets. I wouldn't even surprise me if Tice gets traded to a contender mid-season. That might be part of why Houston picked him up on such an affordable deal, considering he doesn't really meet the timeline of the rest of the team. And Kenyon Martin Jr., we had a sighting from him. He barely played leading up to tonight, but 12 points, 4 rebounds in only 16 minutes. Clearly his best game of the year. Look to see him get a little more time moving forward for the same reason as Sengun might. The young guys are the future in Houston. Tice isn't doing much for them in the short term. So that's going to wrap things up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new to this channel and want to see more NBA 2K roster content. I'm going to be producing it all year. Like this video if you want to help this channel grow, and you can follow me on Twitter at Real2KInsider. Post any comments post any feedback in the comments, I should say. And if you think I'm too high or low on a player, let me know. If you think I'm a Russell Westbrook hater, let me know, etc. Otherwise, I'll see y'all tomorrow for real this time. Peace.